Hey, how's it going, y'all? Welcome back to the Gil Podcast. This podcast is about me, Gil, and the things that I'm currently obsessed with. On today's podcast, I want to talk about upgrading gear, upgrading cameras, upgrading microphones, updating computers. When should you upgrade? Should you upgrade? And all that. And speaking about new gear, you're actually listening to me talk on a new microphone. This is the Fifine K688. This is a XLR USB microphone, and I actually have it connected to my brand new. So this is a all new podcast. Everything is new. I'm new. This is I'm testing out this microphone. Fifine sent out this microphone to me a couple of days ago, and it's been great. I've been using it. I've been using the USB-C functionality a lot more because I actually been asking for a really good USB mic, a dynamic mic that I can, lug around. And, if I have an inspirational or an idea, I can whip out my laptop, my new laptop. We'll talk about that shortly, and podcast in my car. I used to do that a lot with my Samsung 69U? No, it's a Samsung Q9U microphone. It was an XLR dual combo. It's XLR and USB-C. But for some odd reason, it just stopped working. I reached out to Samsung, but couldn't really find anything. And it was way, way beyond the returning time from Best Buy. So I've been looking for a brand new USB mic that could handle, USB and XLR. And I think I finally found it. I'm working on a review now, so I'm just testing it out. And I thought, hey, this is pretty cool. Let me just use this on today's podcast. All right. So I mentioned that, there's a couple of things that are new, right? I just got a brand new MacBook Pro 14-inch M3. This one is not this is not the maxed out one. This is just the MacBook Pro, at least, it has 3 Thunderbolt ports, I believe, 1 HDMI and an SD card slot. The SD card slot to me is like the best thing. 18 gigs of RAM or memory, you'd say. And where's the specs? I want to tell y'all the specs. Most of y'all probably don't even really care about that. You're like, okay, could it play Tetris? Yeah, it can. It could play a multitude of things. I got Baldur's Gate running on there. I have a few other things I wanted to test. And, as far as testing, I put it up against a older MacBook Pro that I have been using since 2019. And this was the MacBook Pro 16-inch i9. That one had 16 gigs of RAM, and that serves me well. But the thing is, that computer, when I got it, I was primarily doing, YouTube videos for me and photography. Like photography was my thing. When I got my iMac in 2012, I still have it to this day. It still works just fine. And I was doing mostly photography, mostly doing photos. I think I was doing comics. I was drawing. I had a scanner, and I would mess around with Illustrator and try to make web comics or webtoons and stuff. And the iMac worked. I would run Windows when I needed some Windows software and stuff. So the iMac still works fantastic. It's a tool that's in my tool shed that's needed when I need it. When I got my MacBook Pro, the 16-inch, the older one, photography, I mean, it's great. But if you know anything about the i9 series, especially this one in particular, the one that I've owned for a while, not a while. I mean, I think it's been like 6 years. 6 years is not a lot of time, but in the computer time, there's been so much more technological advancements. And that's the things I want to go over. I think I have like a couple of points that I want to go over. Some quick things or checklists you want to check off of should you upgrade or not. And the main reason why I upgraded from my 16-inch i9 MacBook Pro is that it was kind of holding me back. This is actually my second one. I want to say my third. Well, not really. It really just took a dump the other day, so I really needed a new computer. But the first time I took a dump, I was rendering a bunch of videos back to back, and this MacBook Pro, the i9, the older one, the fans would just run like crazy. And anybody who knows this MacBook knows that the fans are just rude. You'd be in the library and they'll tell you to get out. You could open up Safari and start doing some research, and for some odd reason, the fans would just kick in, just slightly. You'd do some light work in Photoshop or, especially in Final Cut Pro, the fans will just start kicking. It was annoying. Did it get the job done? Yeah, sure. It did get the job done. But I'll tell you one time when I had to quite literally send it to an Apple repair store because the computer overheated and stopped working. Then I lost everything, So it's like the computer, when I got it, I said, I'm going to be doing my own YouTube videos. I have a video up. I think it was like, I got to find it. I think it's like 2018 or 2019. So when I got the MacBook, I made a video, super excited. And I ran all the specs. If only that Gil knew now. And I hit a wall maybe a couple years ago. And as far as like, not a couple years ago, maybe like last year, where the M1 chips, they're just so good. And I was working with a client and he has several businesses, and he said, "Hey, I got this MacBook. I've never really set it up. You could do an unboxing." I'm like, I don't do unboxings. And I've never used an M series computer. So I think he had the M1, just a base M1, not even M1 Pro, just M1 MacBook Pro. And he didn't really use it. So I unboxed it. It was brand new, sealed and everything. And I was like, "How long have you had this?" He's like, "I got it when it came out and I just never touched it." So I think it was in his storage unit or office for like a year. And I unboxed it, started to load it up with the tools that I need: Final Cut Pro, Audacity for audio editing, Final Cut Pro's for video, Audacity's for audio. I started to use Photoshop and, mostly for that client's work. And then there was a time where my MacBook, personally, my personal one, started to act up, the 16-inch. And I said, well, let me start doing some stuff on my client's laptop. Let's see how that goes. And what ended up happening was the MacBook, the M series MacBook was leagues ahead of my i9. And this was the base model MacBook Pro 14-inch M series chip, M1. I was like, oh my gosh, this is insane. This was insane. The thing that I loved about it too was just how quick it was rendering Final Cut Pro. Like it was quick enough to the point where I said, I'll have to invest in something like this soon. Soon, me and the client, we stopped working together, and I had to then return the MacBook. And I think every once in a while he would be out of town. He's like, "Hey, you could use the MacBook, whatever, and I'll take it for like a couple days, catch up on some projects, do what I needed to do." And then I told my wife, "Babe, we got to get a M series computer." And last week I hit a wall with podcast production, which is something that I do a lot. I edit a lot of podcasts a week, and I needed some performance. My iMac can do. It's an i7. I got 16 gigs of RAM on that one. That one you could manually, and I think the max is 24 on that one. That's from 2012. But my MacBook has 16, and I don't think you can add on there manually. I think you can. This is the older one. 2019. But anyways, I really want to talk about new gear. When is it time to upgrade? And why I felt like why I upgraded to a M3 and why I waited so long. All right. So just to give you a heads up, every Mac product that I've ever owned, every Mac product, every Apple product, every device that I've ever owned has been refurbished. I've had to refurbish my wife's iPad Pro refurbished. Everything is refurbished, and I've never had any issues. I don't know what it is. It's like this thing I hear a lot of people, a lot of my friends, and a lot of clients. I'm not getting no refurbished items. What I have to have is new. I was like, your thing isn't new. Your car isn't new. There's somebody who's like, I gotta be the first one to touch it. No, not really. There's a lot of quality assurance people who assess these stuff. And I used to work for this company called Tiger Direct / CompUSA. It was a computer, hardware, camera company. It's a retail store, really. We sold products all the time. And we were authorized, I don't know what the term is, but we were authorized to refurbish products or computers. I have no idea how or why, but if somebody came in and bought a Nikon D750, my favorite Nikon full frame camera right now, because that's what I'm looking at. And I'm saying it because I feel like my camera has a soul and I want to be nice to it. So if CompUSA sold a Nikon D750 to a client, or not a client, a customer, and the customer took it home and he was like, man, I didn't really enjoy it. It was too clunky and too heavy. We would return it, look at the receipt, look at, all these other stuff, and make sure that everything is working, test out the batteries, bring our techs, like somebody who understands photography, i.e. Gil, and have Gil test it for like an entire day, test out all the lenses, compare it to a brand new one, and clean it off, dust it, see if there's any issues. You put it in a box, label it refurbished, and then you can sell it. We did that all the time, depending on the product, because I don't think we had jurisdiction to refurbish a lot of stuff. But I tell people all the time, you get something really great for cheap when it's refurbished. That's just been like my experience. I never had any issues at all with a refurbished product. But the first thing that I tell people, like, if are you thinking about upgrading, is to do a performance check. Like, check to see if your current computer, your car, whatever the case is, your friend, you got to do upgrades on your friends and loved ones too every once in a while. See if your current computer meets your needs. Is it slowing you down? Is it, holding you back? And that's what was happening to me. My MacBook Pro was kind of holding me back a little bit. It was like not the best experience. Did it work? Yes, but it just was a little laggy. Future proofing. Now, this is something that it's kind of hard to tell because I had no idea that I would be doing video podcasts, having 4 streams of video, 4 streams of audio, depending on how many microphones there are plugged in, live streaming. I had no idea. None. I loved podcasts. I thought it would just be me podcasting, but you can't really predict. And a lot of people tell you got to future proof yourself. You can, but you don't want to you don't want to get a Hummer because there might be a zombie apocalypse. There's not much you can do to prep for things. Like, there's nothing in my mind that told me, well, in a couple of years, I'm going to be producing podcasts for people because podcasting is huge. I just kind of fell into this because I was doing my own podcast and somebody said, hey, can you do mine? And then I was like, yeah, I want to make mine's better. So I got to make yours better. And I started acquiring tools and information and knowledge. The next thing you know, I turned my former photography studio, in this bedroom used to be primarily photography. Like I said, I started doing photography. I had backdrops, everything, and the way the room was aligned and set up was perfect for photography. product photography, headshots. Then I had to switch it around and try to figure, how can I make this appealing for YouTube? Or how can I make this appealing for a podcast? Get some chairs, get an interesting wall. If you look at my old videos, my way back videos, you'll see that there was like no furniture, because I'd get a random person, hey, let's do a quick headshot. Hey, let's do some photos. Hey, I got this product photography I need you to photograph. So I needed to have some interesting stuff behind me. But when I need to do photos, I can just move all those stuff aside and, bring down the backdrop. I had this, I have still a couple of 107-inch backdrops that I would just, because my wall is 113, I think it's like 115 inches long. So the 107-inch backdrop, perfect, because it could like extend to the most, the width of the room. But things change. So future proofing, I tell people, you can't really tell what you're going to be doing, what you will be doing in the future, what you'll be interested in. So try to make sure that you can at least be ready for everything, but not overly excessive. Instead of buying a Hummer because you're anticipating the zombie apocalypse, maybe get an SUV or a truck that you might like, something like a Toyota Tacoma, like me. The next thing I'd say is tech advancement. So the reason why I upgraded from the i9, the Intel chip, to the Apple Silicon M3 is because the M series is way better. And the funny thing is, after doing my research, the M2 is actually better than the M3 from what I have found. I did a Nova bench test for my MacBook Pro, the older one, and then my M3. The M3 overall score was 2760, so like 2700. That was like the score it gave it. And my older MacBook from 2019, its score was 1700. So it's like 1,000 scores better. To me, I feel like that's not really enough, but I feel like it's enough to where it's like, all right, that's just the Nova bench score. I haven't really put the computer to the test yet as far as like editing. I'm recording this on the computer using Audacity, but I haven't really found like the time to like start working on videos yet or photos yet on here. So like the cost benefit analysis, that's what another thing I tell people. And that's kind of going back to the conversation I had about refurbished. All my Apple products have been refurbished. You can wait. So this computer's from last year. If I would have bought it last year, it would have been a lot more. I spent $1,800. Well, I have to speak clearly. Me and my wife spent $1,800 on this MacBook. And to me, that's the cheapest Apple product for me, as far as like work-wise that I've ever bought. My MacBook Pro, the 2019 one, when we bought it, I believe it was $2,500 refurbished. And then my iMac was $1,900 refurbished when I got it. So, and the crazy thing is, this M3 Pro is obviously, due to technology, it's way faster. But if you can wait, because this is a 2012, my iMac is 2012, and I got it in 2013 or 2014. So like, and then I got my MacBook Pro, I think maybe like a year or two. Yeah, probably around the same, 2 years, and then 2 years refurbished. And then this computer, I got it, it's the last year's model, August of last year. So it's like, if you can wait, you can get a way better deal on anything. Cameras, my Nikon D750 is refurbished. I have one Sony A7C refurbished. My other Sony A7C is brand new from Amazon, and my A7 IV is brand new from Amazon. I have a couple other stuff that's refurbished in here. Can't really think about, like, I have a refurbished Shure SM7B microphone, so you don't have to like break the bank in order to create, like, you don't have to like, there's always a refurbished item. So I'm going to change this podcast episode title to Get It Refurbished. First of all, you're waiting, you can get a better deal. And then by that time, it's just, to me, it's a happy medium. That's just been my experience. So I always tell people, look at the cost benefit, future proofing, think about the tech advancements and do a performance check. To me, that's it. You look at where you're at creatively, business wise, whatever the case is, and see, hey, do you actually need this right now? Or can you wait? Like, I knew that I needed to wait to the M3 in order to jump into the M series. I said, I'm going to wait. This MacBook Pro's working, is doing me justice. When I really want to throw the computer against the wall, or when I can't deal with how loud the fans are, then I'll upgrade. And I'm kind of glad I waited. Like that's with anything, even my camera. I had a Nikon D3200. This is a crop sensor camera, so a little smaller. I don't want to disrespect anybody, because if I say this, somebody might take this the wrong way, but it's not technically a professional camera due to the simple fact that it does, to me, a professional camera is full frame and it has two dual SD card slots. That's it. And then a really good dynamic range. And the Nikon D750 has that, but my D3200 didn't. And there were times where I felt very, very inadequate. And when I got my Nikon D750, the full frame professional camera, it opened up plain doors of opportunity and inspiration. And it kind of made me less stressed to become to be a photographer, because now I have two SD cards. So one SD card goes kapoots. The other SD card, I will have the photos and I'll be saved. And with my MacBook Pro, there have been times where I'm in a private, quiet setting, and then the i9, fans would just be blowing, humming, loud. It just was unprofessional. The computer is fantastic. I want to see if I can sell it, or probably pass it down to my wife. My wife says that she hates how heavy it is. And one thing that she mentioned about the M3 MacBook Pro, the 14-inch, it's actually heavier than the 2021, or whenever the first M series came out. It's actually heavier. By the way, this is the space black 14-inch, and it looks amazing. All right, y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please comment down below, like, subscribe. This was just a really short one. I just kind of wanted to share my thoughts on, buying new gear and upgrading, and how do I go about that? Those are just certain things I want y'all to think about when you're thinking about upgrading your gear, upgrading your loved one.
Is your partner holding you back from being successful? Dump that partner.
Oh man, that's hilarious. But don't do that. But yeah, new software, new hardware. Is it holding you back now? If it is, time to upgrade. All right, y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed this podcast. If you did, like I said before, like, comment, subscribe. If you want to support the show, check out the link down below. If you want to support the show, check the link down below. I want to rhyme with Patreon, but I can't, because my skill set is not in rhyming. Gosh, this is embarrassing. All right, so I have a couple links in the description. My Amazon word search book. If you want to have some fun, learn about the beautiful world of photography. I'm working on this. This is the other announcement that I was working on. I think I said it before, maybe not. I'm working on the same concept, but for content creating, not photography, but podcasting. I really love the things that I love, and I obsess over them. And you can tell by how much time and effort I put into my word search book. And it's on Amazon. It's also in the link below. And if you also want to support me, check out me on Patreon. Show me some love and support there. You can also do me a better service. This is actually a lot better than anything. Just share this with somebody. Share this podcast with someone. All right. Love you guys. Bye.